This is Mad Men Sports. We got myself, we got Zach, we got Diamond Dave. Fortunately, circumstances forced us into a virtual setting. So I was wanting to start off and say we apologize for the bad quality, but we wanted to get content out. What's up, Zach?
Good quality. This is quality content always. Welcome to Mad Men Sports Total Landscaping. We're here today. We're getting ready for the Steelers, the 11-1 Steelers.
Yeah, it's going to be a big matchup. It's the first, it's the highest win total in Monday Night Football history between the two teams. I guess it's 20-4, I think, if I'm adding up correctly quickly. So it's the best record that two teams have played at Monday Night Football in its history.
Sunday night.
Sunday Night Football, yeah.
Which is A.O. We're coming off a couple of Sunday nights.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those Monday nights. Really, that's why.
How could you forget?
That was a great game.
His volume down. But he's good.
Yeah.
I don't like this Zoom thing. I feel like I'm in a job interview.
What are your weaknesses?
He's a perfectionist. That's his biggest weakness.
So, does Ben Roethlisberger scare you guys?
Does he scare me?
He's fat.
So no.
That's where I was going to go, but I wasn't going to touch. So Diamond Dave did it instead. No, he doesn't. And you know what? He's healthier than he was last year, which he didn't play at all last year. He doesn't. He's got some weapons. Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame has been a very vital part of that system right now.
Ray McLeod.
He's been a great punt returner for them. You know, Smith-Schuster has been kind of having a down year the last 2 years now. You got to wonder if this is maybe him regressing to his mean now with Antonio Brown gone. He definitely is not absorbing the one-on-ones he used to with AB there. There's been a big fall off in his production since Antonio left. He doesn't bother me as much anymore either. Deontay Johnson might be their biggest threat of the deep ball. And
they have a solid tight end in Eric Ebron.
Yeah, he's got dropitis, which we've seen many times out of tight ends here. Not out of Lee Smith, though, right, Jake?
Right. Dildo hands, yes.
Yeah, well, not Lee Smith, but Scott Chandler, yes. Lee Smith, no. Eric Ebron's got some droppies. He can catch in the end zone. That's his biggest quality, I would say. But Ben Roethlisberger has a singular device. No, he does not scare me. I think he's a little bit immobilized compared to what he was in, obviously the early 2010s, late 2000s. He's definitely a different quarterback. He's evolved into whatever he is now. I mean, he's always hurt. We always see those pictures of him having 18 ice packs all over him. That's what he's going to look like when Jerry Hughes is done with him and AJ Epinesa is done with him. Dave, what do you think about Big Benny?
He's a shell of his old self. He has an amazing offense around him. That I know I said on Monday night, we have the best receiving core in the league. Steelers probably have a close second or 1B because their receiving core is really, really well done and well put together. We also got to talk about Bean, but also the running game. I know we're talking about Big Ben. The running game doesn't scare me either. James Conner is coming off the COVID list. I don't think he's going to be that productive. Their backup is Snell. If I did my work right, is Snell. He catches the ball out of the backfield. Roethlisberger really likes to throw balls deep. He can't run much anymore as opposed to Allen. So if it turns into a run game, and I was just looking at the weather, they're supposed to be 43, they're probably 33 at the stadium. No snow, no rain, so it's going to be balls thrown all over the place. So I think that Roethlisberger will be held in. Zach and I were talking earlier. Sometimes we do that, and the Bills' defense has really been really good the last 5 weeks. That preseason, missing the 4 preseason games, is starting to show because defenses all around the league are starting to become what they used to be. Our defense is becoming a pretty good defense once again.
Back in the top 10 since week 7. And kind of piggybacking off what Dave said with the run game here, I looked up the stats. Woof, this is not your father's Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers here. They are 28th in the league in rush offense. They have currently a 3.7 yards per carry, which is, believe it or not, worse than the Bills, all things considered. They average 92.6 yards per game, which is not what you'd expect and really what you want to hear for Bills right now. Thinking, oh man, this is an old-fashioned ground and pound Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger. You think of the good running backs. Let's go through Willie Parker. We got Jerome Bettis. Le'Veon Bell. I mean, Le'Veon Bell used to gash him for 200 yards at a time. But this is not your father's Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not even your teenage years' Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a Pittsburgh Steelers team that has the identity of a defense, which is more like what your father used to watch, but they don't have a very solid foundation of offense. They pass, and when they do pass, it is effective, but not always effective, as you saw them only put up, I believe, 17 points against the Washington football team. They haven't had a team crack 30 points on them this week. Jake, do you think the Bills are the first team to crack 30 points on the Steelers this season?
I do, and let me tell you why. I think Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs, Cole Beasley being a bigger threat. That is a force that is unstoppable, in my opinion. I mean, you take a look, Minkah Fitzpatrick is probably their vocal point in that defense. And you look at teams that we played in the past. I mean, Seattle Seahawks, known for their great defense, maybe not so much this year. You had Budda Baker in Arizona. I mean, I was going to say Stephon Gilmore, but he's not playing this year. We've seen great defenses, and Josh Allen is still up to the test.
Absolutely. And listen, you think about what's left of the Pittsburgh Steelers outside of injuries. Vince Williams went on the COVID list today. He's got to be on there for 5 days. He isn't playing the Bills. He was their last remaining starting linebacker, i.e. after Devin Bush, who's my fantasy IDP stud, and Bud Dupree. So after that, then they even got their fourth best linebacker, Robert Spillane. Is that what we call it? Spillane. He's out. We got Joe Hayden, by far and away their best corner. He's on concussion protocol. It's Thursday, going into Friday. He hasn't practiced yet this week. He doesn't need to practice. He could come off and on Saturday. We've seen Josh Allen do that in the past. We've seen Micah Hyde do that in the past. But do we think it can happen? I'm not entirely sure. Sean Nelson is coming back. He is their starting corner. He's definitely a huge drop-off from Joe Hayden. So if that's what's going to go against Diggs this week.
Someone you guys haven't even talked about is TJ Watt. Might be up for Defensive Player of the Year.
He might be running away with it at this point.
TJ Watt will get the quarterback. He will get Josh Allen. We can't let that destroy us. He's probably going to be matched up against our right tackle Williams. And he hasn't seen anyone like him before. I know we played Bosa a couple weeks ago, but TJ Watt is the real deal. And he doesn't scare me because I think that their linebacker core being out. I think what we need out of the Bills this week is with the Steelers linebacker core depleted right now. And they are missing some good guys. With their defensive backfield is pretty good. Jake and Zach mentioned Sean Nelson, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden. They got some other jobber in there.
Another jobber.
And so I think that Singletary and Moss are going to be expected to do a lot this week. And I know I sat here and said it's going to be a throwing game. But that middle of the field being wide open like that, Singletary can catch those passes. McKenzie, maybe we'll see McKenzie more. The middle of the field is going to be wide open, I think. Allen's going to have to get rid of the ball a lot because Allen's going to, Jake, what is it you say, get his nut? He's going to bust a nut this week because he is going to get hit a lot, I think.
See, I like the TJ Watt aspect. I think he's going to be very aggressive. He is the straw that serves that defensive drink right there. Casey Hayward, just as effective as well. Let me interrupt my thought to let you know that you could win this autographed ball.
Just guess the score.
Drop the score in the comments. Give me your prediction. Drop them.
We're not there yet, are we?
Argue about it. No.
I have a whole other topic.
No, we got to get that out of the way first, though. That's one of the first things we should have done. This virtual thing, we lost it on the cue card. Raul's going to make fun of us for that one.
So a question I have for both of you, and we didn't talk about anything off camera. This game is most important for the Bills or the Steelers? Who needs this game more?
I'll start. Oh, go ahead. No, go off, King.
The Bills. Pittsburgh Steelers, they are a respected team in this league. Bills, for the last 25 years, have been the laughing stock of the AFC East, AFC, and the NFL. And it is time for the Buffalo Bills to show the entire world that we're not beating teams like the New York Jets, the Bengals, shitty teams like that. We're here to compete. We lost to two very good opponents in the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. No more. Bills are here to stay.
I'm going to go in left field here. I think the Steelers need this way more than the Buffalo Bills do. The Steelers need to go out there and show that they have the ability to play against an actual team. We look at think about all the memes that are out there. Oh, they beat all the Jaguars. They beat the, this, that, and the other team. They beat the worst teams in the league, and they're the worst undefeated team of all time, in which, that may hold some wind this week, especially with the injuries. They are in a tight spot right now. They're losing their grip on the 1 seed. If they lose to the Bills, they're back in Gen Pop with the rest of us out here out of round 1 playoff buys. The Steelers need this like they need water. This is an important game for the Steelers. The Steelers have played against 8 teams with 5 or less wins. They have 0 signature wins on their roster or on their resume, which you know how I feel. I don't think signature wins are something you really need. This isn't the BCS. This isn't the college football playoff. You beat the teams that are on your schedule. The Bills, on the other hand, I mean, their least impressive win is against 6-6 New England Patriots team. They've been beating good teams all year. They beat the Steelers. It's another feather in the cap. It's another week of talking about Josh Allen being a stud. Another week of Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane really turning the tides, which we'll get to a little bit later, of course. But the Steelers need this like they need air. This is the most important game on the Steelers schedule for the rest of the way because they need to hold on to the fact that they can get a first round bye. The Bills, probably the best they can do at this point. I don't want to get too ahead of myself and say, oh, they need this. But the best the Bills probably could do is the 2nd seed. The Steelers are holding on to that first seed for dear life.
Agree that they're holding on for dear life. I also think the Steelers lose. The Steelers are going to drop to 2nd seed. I'll tell you why. They have remaining on the schedule the Bills this week. They have the Colts. They have last week of the year the Browns. If the Steelers lose the 2 games I just mentioned, could be fighting for that 2 or 3 slot themselves. So Steelers need this win. Steelers can. It's funny that they go from undefeated 1 week to losing the game they shouldn't be losing to against Washington. Sorry, Washington.
You're on it.
And so it's kind of funny. I think the Chiefs are going to own the 1 spot, unfortunately, and that's fine with me because let's get the playoffs rolling with Buffalo. And so we know who the Bills have remaining. We're all going to say. I think they lose 1 more game. I'm not going to say which game I think that is. And I'll tell you why another time. But the Steelers need this game. If Steelers don't lose this game, I can see kind of things falling in place for them to kind of flip out. They play the Bengals on Monday night coming up, then the Colts and the Browns, and both those teams are jockeying for position right now. So Steelers should be balls to the wall, ready to go here, and the Bills are pretty damn healthy going into this game once again.
Absolutely.
And we get Brown back next week, so the receiving corps is only going to get better.
Absolutely. 2 opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of health in this. 2 opposite ends of listen, if anyone's out there telling you the Bills need a prove-it game against the Steelers, they're just looking for something to say. You don't need a prove-it game. You just did it on Monday night. You just did it against the Seahawks. You did it against the Rams. You've beaten. Your resume is plump. I don't know. Perfect way to put it. You have a great resume. You're at the top of the class. You want to win the division. You're in the driver's seat for the division. The Patriots right now, while we're talking, they're getting their teeth kicked in. We're loving that.
Yeah, and the other thing, going off real quick, that's the other thing I was going to say was the Chiefs are our biggest fan this week. Chiefs have the Dolphins this week. If the Chiefs win, that helps us out immensely. We don't have to worry about the Dolphins until the last week of the year, which is the game I think we lose because we don't need to win it. So that game, and the Chiefs are fighting for that number 1 spot. So I think Andy Reid's going to have a Josh Allen jersey underneath his get-up this week because he's going to be a huge Bills fan.
Did we convince you, Jake? Do the Steelers need it more?
No.
I'm still with us, Jake.
Yeah. Hey, Zach, do you know who I am?
We can't see you, so no.
You're Jake.
You can't see me at all?
We chose not to. It was a personal decision.
I have sunglasses on.
Oh, I don't know. Who are you?
I don't know. I'm some PFT wannabe.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Nice, nice. So yeah, I mean, this is a very big game. There's no denying that. The Bills are in great position right now to really take into this 2 seed probably because the Steelers have a hell of a schedule, and the Bills, if they play like how they played on Monday night, I think they go toe to toe with any team in the league right now. Easily.
Are we good on time? Because I have 2 more questions I want to ask you guys.
Keep going.
Just for top the conversation.
Keep going.
I know this will be a good conversation in the chat room. Nobody has any idea what I'm about to say.
No.
So we can go back before the season starts. This is a question I was having at work and with my friends. This is it's kind of an in-depth question.
Do you have other friends? What about
I
us?
have one friend, and he doesn't listen.
2 twins.
So say we go back before the draft, before we traded for Stefon Diggs. Bills took Jefferson. Right now, their numbers are very similar. I think they're actually exact. Diggs maybe have more catches. Would you rather have Jefferson in his rookie year right now or Diggs, who you're paying top money to? Who would you rather have? It's a very good discussion to have.
Diggs.
So I think it's the answer is Stefon Diggs.
No.
Josh Allen needed a vet. He didn't need another rookie. Didn't need someone to come in here and have to learn the offense, learn how to be an NFL player. He needed a proven guy who knows how to win in this league, who knows how to play in this league, and who knows what to expect from a quarterback. Justin Jefferson may have a fantastic career, but that is not what we needed in Buffalo.
I agree. I just think it's a good conversation to have because I'm surprised with how Jefferson's numbers looks and with the lesser quarterback with Kirk Cousins. It's just kind of impressive that he's a rookie putting up those numbers, and he does have Adam Thielen across the field from him. But it's just kind of I think a good conversation to have that no one's really having is you could have Jefferson, who is I believe 5 years younger than Diggs, or we could have Diggs, who probably has 5 more years on the Bills. So it's just a conversation I threw up there. I think it's fun to have that kind of talk.
No, absolutely, and I think when it comes down to it, it's very cut and dry for what this offense really needed. I don't think that Jefferson puts up the numbers in a Bills uniform, and I don't think Allen puts up the numbers in the Bills uniform as with Jefferson on his team. Beasley doesn't put up the numbers. I think this whole offense needed a number 1 wide receiver to take attention from, to be a safety valve, to just be a difference maker. And I think Jefferson benefits from garbage time blowouts / Adam Thielen / Kirk Cousins is just throwing it up there on Hail Marys half the time. He gets a bunch of deep balls. His yards per catch is like out of this room with like 15 yards per catch because it's all just deep balls to him. So
Bills won the trade for sure.
I think it's a wash. I think it's a win-win trade. And I think the Bills in the general picture are much better off. But I also think that the Vikings have the goods too. I think Diggs is the final piece of what Josh Allen needs. I don't think Justin Jefferson would have been, or any rookie for that matter, would have been what Josh Allen needed.
Brandon Bean sent me $1 today because he's a rich man.
Absolutely. That's another thing. We're doing this podcast a day late because, like we had when we had Capaccio on,
I'll take my $1 back.
The night before, we asked him about McDermott's contract because we had the scoop. Today, we got the scoop, and we waited off one day for the podcast because we knew we wanted to talk about the Brandon Bean thing, didn't we, Jake?
We did. We knew about it before it happened, just like we knew that Sean McDermott was being re-signed.
It's the madman difference. Do you think you deserve the contract? I don't think it's a It's not even a It's not even a
If anybody says no to that, they need to get the hell out of town. That's so stupid. Yeah, he deserves the contract. It's great. I'm gonna get emotional here. You guys aren't as old as I am. I've dealt with the worst coaches, the worst GMs, the worst. Bills were a joke. Bros were a laughing stock. We finally have something here, and it looks like we're gonna have it for the next. I'm gonna say 5 years that we have a franchise who's gonna be a top contender for the next 5 years. And unlike the Texans or another garbage team, which we've made this mistake in the past, we have first-round picks. We still have draft picks. We still have salary cap moves. We don't have anyone leaving this offseason that's huge. We could talk about Milano, but do we need to? Not yet. So, we have the sky's not falling. The sky's only getting brighter. There is gold at the end of this rainbow, and we're going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, everything's really in a good position. They got their quarterback. They got their
That's as emotional you'll see me.
franchise coach, franchise GM. They have a good defense. I think long term, I think Leslie Frazier and McDermott are more important than Dable because I think having a good backbone of a defensive scheme is going to be important. Now that you have the quarterback, you might have to cut some costs long term on the defensive side of the ball. So having a defensive-minded coach with a very good scheme will take you a far way. Jake, speak on the Bean contract re-signing or extension.
I think it's very important. I think the Bills, in terms of transactions over the years, have been laughable. We've gotten rid of a lot of good players for nothing in return, and we've completely punted on a decent amount of our draft picks. So it's important to have someone like Bean. He knows who he wants, and he knows the perfect amount and how to acquire that. You're not seeing any misses like you did from Buddy Nix. I mean, it's just a pivotal. I would say that he's one of the most important people within this organization.
Without a doubt. Like, I think back to, when you said losing important people for nothing. Remember when we just let Lee Smith walk out the door and didn't get anything in return for him? That was such a ridiculous thing. He had to go spend 2 years in Oakland. Luckily, he came back. Everything was remedied, and we're on the right track now. With Lee Smith, we have a record of, at the moment, I believe it's 19-8. That's the Lee Smith difference right there. And I think he's a huge part of the Pittsburgh game coming up as well. I think he's going to get in that second level of the linebackers and really start blowing some guys up there.
That is a ridiculous stat. The Buffalo Bills being 19-8 with future Hall of Famer Lee
Might be
Smith.
19-9.
19-9, whatever.
I want to Who's sick of hearing about it?
He would murder.
Shut up. He would kill you, David.
You might not be willing to. It's just going to happen. He's going to kill you.
Lee Smith, your address, buddy.
Yeah, he'll be bringing a 22 and coming correct. 22 and 1.
Well, I'm ready. Lee Smith, if you want to come over.
Lee Smith fan club. Wow, you're really giving up, Dave, huh?
I'm not going to talk shit to a guy that doesn't matter.
Come over and drink, Lee Smith.
Yo, put that away.
I've had a drink with Stephen Hauschka, which, again,
shut the fuck up.
Easy, Jake. Easy.
Jeez, that's a hard act, man.
Young listeners.
Ooh.
So what do you got for this game? What are your predictions?
Jake, you go ahead first because you're the potty mouth.
We're going to break 40 points. You were talking about, are we breaking 30? We're breaking 40. There's not going to be a shadow of a doubt who the Buffalo Bills are after this game. 40-17.
Brain blast. My phone's recording currently, but I think the Bills can clinch a playoff spot this week, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that was part of my we could have a playoff spot. There's some things that have to happen, which we should have wrote down.
I think
Monday night, if the Browns lose, I think it is.
Someone can pull it up. Come on, you have a phone. You have a phone.
Well, then entertain the crowd for a minute.
Crowd, tell me what your prediction. Don't forget, this is a good plug right here. You get this ball. We send it to you. We FedEx it. We probably USPS it because we want to help small local government businesses. And we'll get it to your house as soon as possible. Probably after the holidays because that might be cheaper, but it'll get there.
I got it.
Drop your score below.
I got it too, Jake.
Let us know and hammer that like and subscribe button.
Jake, before you go, can I say something?
No. What's up?
I'm looking at a lot. A lot of people don't give a shit about this, but a lot of Bills are up for the Pro Bowl right now. Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs, Edmonds, which I don't really understand, but Micah Hyde, Hoyer, Bass, Andre Roberts, and Reed Ferguson. No Lee Smith.
Just off the top of the dome, I believe Josh Allen was second in the AFC in quarterbacks. I believe that Tremaine Edmonds is second in the AFC in
Bill's
quarterbacks.
Daily still.
I use it. I use it at work. Stefon Diggs first in the AFC. Micah Hyde fifth in the AFC. Poyer first in the AFC. Tyler Bass, the rookie, sixth in the AFC. Andre Roberts, we already know, first, and Reed Ferguson fifth in the AFC. That's probably going to happen. I don't think the Pro Bowl happens. I'm pretty sure they've already written that off.
They still get credit for it, though.
So if you're in that top 4 slot, you might get credit for the Pro Bowl, and it might actually matter because it's not going to be some puff game that everyone blows off this year because it's just a designation now. You know what I mean?
Jake, what do the Bills have to do to get to the playoffs this weekend?
Well, two things real quick before I do that. Lee Smith snubbed for the Pro Bowl, and
Very snubbed.
even if there was a game, Bills aren't playing. We'll be in the Super Bowl. The Bills can clinch. What's that?
I'll knock on the wood for you.
Bills can clinch a playoff spot with a win versus Pittsburgh, a Baltimore loss versus Cleveland, a Miami loss versus Kansas City,
Doable.
Las Vegas loss versus Indianapolis, a New England loss or tie versus the Rams.
Hell yeah. It's all happening. It's all shaping up.
It's going Hoosiers.
I think it's possible. I think all those situations are possible. I think we could see Larry Bird really take over control and French Lick over there and just really blow the Vegas Raiders out of the water.
Hey, Zach.
What?
You should do a parlay for the Bills to make the playoffs. You should do all those teams.
I already missed the New England game.
Minus the New England game.
Okay, I'll do a parlay on the games. Only because you asked. Dave, what's your score prediction for the game?
Bills win. I'm going to say that now. Like I said, I think they win the remaining games and lose the Dolphins because it doesn't matter. Again, this conversation doesn't matter. But the Bills beat the Steelers. I think it is a defensive struggle for both teams. I think the Bills win 20-9. I think our defensive backfield shuts down their receiving core. I think Roethlisberger has a terrible day because I think he's going to get hit a lot. He does get sacked a lot. That's the one stat that no one's talking about. He does get sacked a lot. And Jerry Hughes, I think, is going to get a chance to move into the fourth all-time for the Bills, which is an impressive stat, actually. I'm impressed by it because I'm a big sack guy, like sacks. So that should get edited out. But I think 29 Bills.
Big sack guy, huh? You hear that, guys? Diamond Dave fan club?
Zach, what's your score prediction? I don't know how you follow that.
I'm a big point guy. So I think the Bills really need to put up a ton of points against this team. And listen, I've been preaching almost that I don't think you need statement wins in the NFL. You just need to get wins in the NFL. They don't ask how. They ask
how many.
How many? And I really think the question this week is how many touchdowns are we going to get? I think the weather's a little choppier than Dave's leading on. I think the wind is really a bitch, especially in Orchard Park and that bowl of a stadium that I believe is underground. Is that below sea level? I believe it is. Feels like I'm walking down a mile. But let me think here. If I had to give you a score, I would go, and you guys can't copy our scores, but don't forget to drop a score.
Or they can. I don't care.
I'll go 31-16.
Jake, you're up.
Bills win.
I said it already, 40-17.
You did. We also have Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels this week. You guys a fan of Collinsworth?
Al Michaels is not coming this week.
What? What's wrong?
Mike Tirico and
Is Al Michaels okay?
yeah, this was just one of the games he passed up.
Fuck. Or screw him.
Hey, hard F, man.
Myself.
Well, you guys both owe me $1.
Well, Brandon Bean gave me one. All right, guys. I'm done talking. You guys can continue. Go Bills this weekend. Leave your comments in the comment section. And like and subscribe, all that crap.
Damn, look at Dave go. Run a show, man. Hell yeah.
Now, you guys can keep going.
We're done. Cut it.